Welcome aboard, folks. Here we are to another Friday edition of Your Voice Counts. Thank you very much for joining us on this very fine radio station. It's an honor to be on RBN, and we're glad to be here to tell our story and get the truth out. You know, I go through a lot of things during the week that I hear, and this and that and the other, and what should be said and what shouldn't be said, and I just want to kind of keep to the script. And the script is, you know, this show is done in honor to never forget my fallen shipmates and the shipmates that listen to this show and their families. You know, these men were cut down in cold blood on the high seas by our supposed ally, the government of Israel. Israel knew 8 to 9 hours before the fact that our flag was flying. They positively identified our flag. And guess what? Guess what, folks? They relayed the messages back to their headquarters and said, yeah, we know it's an American ship. We have it on our war table. So apparently there wasn't any trouble at that point. So what we ended up getting was, after all this exposure, that Israel knew that we were there in international waters off the coast of Sinai. And I will continue with this, but I wanted to make sure that my special guest was on the line, and I'll get him on just as soon as I get done with my Liberty business, which I always do. Our special guest tonight is well, let's put it this way. He's a true American hero in his own right. He's no sleeping beauty. And he came from the loins of a hero, a man that gave his life every day for the United States of America. That man would be Francis Gary Powers. And if you don't know who he is, you don't know anything about the Cold War, what was going on over Russia, and who knows where else. But this man is a American icon, an American hero, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes as soon as I get over my Liberty business, which I have to do. And thank you, Gary, for joining the show. Just hang on, please, till I get this done, and then we'll get you on air and we'll go from there. But folks, as I was telling you, our ship was positively identified by the IDF. Folks, we're going to go on to a break here. I hear the music coming on. So support your sponsors on RBN, please. You know, they're the people who keep this thing going. Real news, real talk, because you can't handle the truth. Thank you.
I'll hear the bomb again.
American gardeners and fellow patriots, make the right choice with your money, time, and your family food supply. Choose 100% pure heirloom seeds in the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. Why spend more? The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com is only $37.95 and includes 20 varieties of pure, hardy, easy-to-grow heirloom seeds. Yes, only $37.95. That's 70% less than our competitors. You could buy 3 Survival Seed Vaults for less than one of theirs. The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com MyPatriotSupply.com includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions and ships same day. Plus, all orders over $49 ship free. MyPatriotSupply.com is American-owned by patriots like you, passionate about freedom and preparedness. Call now, 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness items when you order at MyPatriotSupply.com. Choose the original. Choose the Survival Seed Vault at MyPatriotSupply.com.
Hey there, my name is Frank Bates. What I'm about to tell you in the next 60 seconds could get me in a lot of trouble. I just created a free video presentation at 123crooks.com that exposes the electricity monopolies and government agencies for what they really are. Incompetent, lying crooks that are counting on your ignorance and fear to keep your power bills criminally high. Some have called this a conspiracy. Others have called it a cover-up. And you'll be shocked to find out how deep the conspiracy goes. My video at 123crooks.com exposes the truth and shows you the secret of how I beat them and how you can beat them too. Watch the controversial video that thousands of other smart patriots have already seen in the last 3 months. Go to 123crooks.com and discover one weird trick to slash your power bill and protect your home. Go watch my video now at 123crooks.com before they force me to shut it down. 123crooks.com.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Well, the time has finally come for the story to be told that should have been listened to a long time ago. In 1967, on the 8th day of June, came the attack of the Liberty and the needless loss of many of the crew. And the Liberty fell like a wounded, dying lamb. The men in the light betrayed, and their souls were surely damned.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to the first part of Your Voice Counts, and thank you very much for listening. My name is Phil Tourney, USS Liberty survivor, three-time president of the USS Liberty Veterans Association. I've held every office in that association. I think anybody could, but anyway, folks, I want to get back to the beginning here, or let's go in the middle here, of what happened that day. And I'll tell you what happened. 294 Americans were aboard the USS Liberty. There were over 850 cannon and rocket holes in our ship. Over 5,000 armor-piercing bullets, napalm burning us up, and a 40 by 40-foot hole in her starboard side that almost sank us. They shot the only 3 remaining life rafts that we had aboard the USS Liberty. Now, folks, we had enough life rafts for 294 souls plus. We dropped them over the side, and as soon as we put the life rafts over the side, guess what happened? The Israeli torpedo boats shot them out of the water. They shot 2 out of the water and took 1 aboard the boat, I guess as a trophy. I heard it was in a museum somewhere in Israel as a trophy. Can you believe that, as a trophy of killing American souls on the high seas. It's just unbelievable. I still can't believe it. And I was there. You know, they took their best shot, and they didn't put us on the bottom, but I'll tell you what, they certainly have gotten away with war crimes over and over and over. You know, in this 2-hour attack, 34 Americans were slaughtered. 174 others were wounded, including myself and many, many others. And a friend of mine is going to be coming on the show here in a minute. Mr. Ron Kukul will be on our show to help us, get things straightened out. But here for 45 years plus, the government of the United States has hidden this, covering up for Israel and the slaughter of Americans on the high seas. These young men didn't deserve to die like that on the high seas, doing what we were ordered to do. It's despicable, dishonest, and it can happen again and again and again. And I'll tell you what, in my view, it has been happening. We fought a war in Iraq for Israel, and we're fighting a war right now for Israel. In Afghanistan, they want to get us in 2 more, in Iran and Syria. Folks, that can't happen. This country is going down, and it's going to go down fast. I really want a special thanks to Kat Faber, and her husband for getting such fine guests, along with Ron Kukul and others, as we have tonight. One of the finest guests we've had on this radio program, and I certainly appreciate Mr. Powers taking the time, to hang on there for just a few minutes, and so I get this business done. But also, Kat, your songs are so beautiful, inspirational. You are just an angel, and thank you, Kat, for your contribution to the USS Liberty and to America. And I also want to say congratulations on your dad's heart surgery today. I heard it went very, very well. And please tell your dad, Harley, and his beautiful wife, we're thinking of him. Get well soon, and all of your family. I'm glad you came together and everything worked out, and I appreciate it so much. Also, folks, go to my very, very good friend, former intelligence officer aboard the USS Liberty, Lieutenant John Gadusco, one of the finest men I've ever had the chance of coming around. I didn't work for John, but I sure would have liked to, but I wasn't a CT. I wasn't qualified. But anyway, he's done so much for the USS Liberty. You must go to his site. It's tinyurl.com/USS Liberty. tinyurl.com/USS Liberty. Thank you, John. And I hope Betty is getting better. I know she fell too and hurt her foot. And let's make sure Betty gets back on her feet soon and recovers as good as new. With finishing up, I want to thank Republic Broadcasting Network, and especially John Statmiller, for giving me the chance, the USS Liberty crew, to pay tribute to one of the greatest ships that ever sailed the 7 seas. John has given us a chance to make sure our fallen mates are not forgotten. Not on RBN, not on this radio station. It is very, heartfelt to me to have an American, a true American, as John Statmiller, let us get the facts out. He wants no more false flags on America, as I do not. And let's just pray Israel does not go ahead and do what they say they're going to do and fight or try to get us in a war with Iran or Syria. I don't think that they could handle it themselves, so they want us to do it for them. And I'm not really, really too happy about that. But what are we going to do? Now, I'm going to read a little bio here of my guest. And I want you to listen to this, folks, because it's very, very interesting. And it's something that I think all Americans should know. And I hope that you will. Okay, let me get it on here. Okay, just a second. I apologize, Gary. I'm having computer problems. Let's do it this way. First of all, Gary's father was a U-2 pilot, one of the bravest men that ever flew for the United States of America. Unfortunately, he got shot down in the Cold War by the Russians. That was a great big embarrassment to the United States of America, a great big embarrassment. But Gary did get back, had a family, and he raised a wonderful, wonderful son that had so many degrees, and that's what I was going to read. But you know what, Gary, all your degrees and all the things and the Cold War museum that you started and everything else is a tribute to your father, and I know that. I know your father received the Silver Star, sir. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start the show. Thank you, Gary, for coming on. Your voice counts.
All right, Phil, thank you very much for having me on as a guest. It's good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you. Please go ahead, Gary, and say anything you'd like, and start off with your dad or what you're doing right.
Sure. Well, thank you, Phil. For the audience members who aren't aware of the U-2 incident, let me give a little recap. My father was one of the first U-2 pilots back in the 50s in a program designed by the CIA in conjunction with President Eisenhower to overfly the former Soviet Union and other Eastern Bloc countries behind the Iron Curtain to bring out information, intelligence information that could be reviewed by the analysts to determine their strengths and weaknesses. In the 50s, there were very few ground agents behind the Iron Curtain, and the U-2 program was developed to take photographic reconnaissance imagery of the ground below that would prepare Eisenhower and the military leaders of the time for surprise attacks and what the Soviets were doing. After 4 or 5 years of successful missions, my father was selected to do the May 1st mission of 1960. It was the last mission to be conducted before the Paris Summit Conference of May 16th of that year. My father took off from Peshawar, Pakistan, May 1st, 1960, flies over the Soviet Union's border at about 68,000 feet, flips on and off the camera switches that will take the photographic imagery of the ground below. He's 4 hours into his mission. He's at an altitude of 70,500 feet over the city of Sverdlovsk. There's a bright orange flash. A shockwave hits the plane. The controls no longer respond. As a result, the nose pitches forward, the wings break off, and my father finds himself spinning down towards the ground in the wreckage. He falls from 70,000 feet to 30,000 feet before bailing out of the aircraft. He does not use the ejection seat. If he did, he would have severed his legs on the way out. The U-2 cockpit's very small, very tight, very compact. In order to eject, you have to be in a perfect position to clear the airframe. Since he couldn't get in that position, he does the following. He opens up the canopy, which floats off into space, undoes his harness, and is immediately sucked up halfway out of the airplane. He's still connected by his air hose. So here he is halfway in the plane, halfway out of the plane, spinning down towards the ground, in and out of consciousness, being banged around.
Gary, hold that.
Oh, sure, no problem.
We got the music coming on. Folks, what a fascinating show we're going to have here. And so hang on and support your sponsors on RBN. And thank you for listening. We'll be right back. See you in just a few minutes. Thank you.
For liberty.
Hey, meat eaters, the Freeze Dry Guy wants to know, does your emergency food supply meet the standards for survival? Then get the 144-day meat variety unit from the Freeze Dry Guy. Our meat units utilize only quality Mountain House freeze-dried cooked ground chicken and ground beef, the undisputed choice for great taste and highest nutrition. The Freeze-Dry Guy's 144-day meat variety unit includes 6 number 10 cans of the very best freeze-dried animal protein for power you'll need when the going gets tough. Every Meat Eater's 144-day meat variety unit comes with a free medical kit and always free shipping to the lower 48. Need more than 144 days? See our 1-year plus Meat Eaters units at freezedryguy.com. And hey, the Freeze-Dry Guy still has LRP rations, but they're going fast. Don't wait until tomorrow. Call now, 866-404-3663. That's 866-404-3663. Or go to freezedryguy.com and meet the standards for survival.
Don't answer it! How can I stop these annoying collection calls?
Imagine being free from your debt without settling and with no payment plan, no negotiating or filing bankruptcy, and no attorneys. What if you could eliminate the risk from all your unsecured debt in about 90 days and keep all your money? You can. It's called Zero Debt Guarantee, and it works. There's no other program of its kind on the planet, and we guarantee the results in writing. Call now, 800-477-9256. Let our team of experts provide you with the resources to fight back, stop collection calls, and prevent and stop wage garnishments and bank levies. If you're facing foreclosure, we can help. Don't go it alone. Get free information now by calling 800-477-9256. Talk to an expert who has also completed our program. Call 800-477-9256 for free info, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com. That's 800-477-9256, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Well, finally, the officials back to Washington sends out a message that the ship will farther out to sea. There were too many errors and too much time wasted. The bombs were coming down. It would be too late.
Welcome aboard, folks. Here we go with our very interesting guest, Mr. Powers, and I hope you don't mind me calling him Gary, but I wanted to thank again Kat for her beautiful, beautiful voice and her rendition of, thinking about the crew of the USS Liberty as we think about your father and what he did for this great country and putting his life on the line. No greater man can do anything other than give his life for his country, and your father almost did. I was thinking that was 14 miles up. He was up in the air with the wings coming off his aircraft.
He was about 14 miles up when the missile hit him. It was a near miss. Had the SA-2 missile hit him directly, he would have died in the crash, and the plane would have been blown up into little bitty pits. But since it was a near miss, he was able to bail out of the aircraft. He was able to parachute down to the ground, and there he was apprehended, turned over to the authorities, turned over to the KGB, and then whisked over to Moscow. He found himself there in captivity his first night, May 1st of 1960, there at Lubyanka prison. And then for the next 7 days, he was put through rigorous interrogations prior to a public announcement that he was alive. During those first 7 days, he was lying to his captors outright. holding back as much information as possible, misleading them any way he could. But on May 7th, international headlines around the world indicated that the U-2 had been shot down, that Powers was alive, that he'd be tried for espionage, and that the trial would be sometime in August. On May 7th, the 7th day of the interrogation, the KGB guard in charge of the interrogation team comes rushing into the cell, shoves a newspaper, the New York Times, in my dad's face, yells at him, "You've lied to us. You told us you were trained in Arizona. Well, the New York Times says you were trained in Nevada at Area 51. You might as well tell us everything. Well, get it out of your American press anyways." So all of a sudden, my dad's stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he tells the full truth, he's giving away secrets. If he lies to him, he could get shot, face the death penalty for espionage. So for the next 3 months, during the solitary confinement and the interrogations, he resorts to the following. He tells the full truth when he knows they can verify the information in the press. That helps to give him credibility. He lies to them outright when he knows there's no way they can get the information. Names of pilots, number of missions, specifications about the equipment on board. Then he gives a part truth, a part lie, dances around the subject when he knows they know something about the question they're asking, but not enough to contradict what he was telling them, such as the altitude he was flying. Dad always maintained that he was at the maximum altitude of 68,000 feet when he was shot down. And he did that for 2 reasons. One was to try to get the message back home to his employers, the CIA, "Hey guys, I'm not telling the full truth." And that was eventually discovered when he was brought back home and debriefed. The other reason was to try to keep other pilots out of harm's way should they continue the missions. U-2s would fly between 70 and 75,000 feet on operational missions. If he could convince the Soviets that he was at the maximum altitude of 68,000 feet to detonate the warheads at that altitude, then he would be keeping a buffer between 2,000 and 5,000 feet between the other pilots and try to keep them out of harm's way. So that was his tactic for the next 3 months, was to provide as little information as possible that they could verify in the press and to keep back as much classified information as possible until he was through the interrogations. August 17th, a 3-day show trial. Dad was sentenced to 10 years in prison, served that sentence in Vladimir. He served an additional 18 months, 21 months total of captivity, before being exchanged on February 10th of 1962 for Soviet spy Colonel Rudolph Abel. Abel had been caught in New York back in the late 50s. He was serving a 30-year penitentiary term in a federal penitentiary in Georgia. Donovan from New York, an attorney, brokered the deal with an East German spy master. They ended up exchanging my father for Colonel Rudolph Abel on a dark, cold, foggy morning, right out of a John Le Carré novel. The Glennecker Bridge, Potsdam, Germany, East meets West. My dad's on one side of the bridge, Rudolph Abel's on the other. They are positively ID'd, and they walk home to their respective freedoms. Rudolph Abel returns home a hero of the Soviet Union. Ticker tape parade in his honor, postage stamp in his likeness, medals for his heroics. Dad returns home to an American public that doesn't really know what to think of this. They've read editorials in the newspaper that he had defected, that he had landed the plane intact, that he had spilled his guts and told the Soviets everything he knew, or that he hadn't followed orders and committed suicide, all of which were part truths, mistruths, innuendos, some speculation of the time. Dad went on to be debriefed by the CIA when he returned home, by Lockheed, was put before a Senate Select Committee hearing in March of '62. 3 of the senators there with their colleagues were Prescott Bush. Oh, the group music's coming on again. I'll finish this up after the next thing.
Thank you, Gary. We'll be right back on, folks. Support your sponsors on RBN, and thank you, Devin. He is our producer today. He's at the boards. He's doing a heck of a job. Thank you again. And again, support RBN, real news, real talk, real people, because you can handle the truth.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
How would you like to own land? A refuge to escape from big cities, possible food shortages, the collapse of the dollar, or just a vacation trip is now available to you. Lots of fishing and hunting are available just across the Rio Grande River. Own your personal Colorado Wilderness RV lot within 3 stones throw of the Rio Grande River for $1,395. Quarter-acre lots, county road access. All lots come with warranty deed. All just for $1,395. Call 785-672-3141. 785-672-3141. Or go online to ColoradoRiverLots.com for more information and to see photos. It is away from civilization, a good business investment, and a low-cost protection plan. Call today, 785-672-3141.
If you would like to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself from anything out of bounds concerning cardiovascular or diabetic circulation problems, then this might be the most important ad you'll ever hear. It is possible to acquire a 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation, which works. It is extremely effective and starts to work within days. For a long and healthy life, order today by calling 866-295-5305. 866-295-5305. A healthy heart is a happy heart. Order online at heartandbody.com. That's heartandbody.com.
In 2010, millions of people were awakened to the question of what? Now the next question that remains to be answered is, why in the world are they spraying? An investigative look into one of the many agendas associated with chemtrail geoengineering programs, weather control. Why in the world are they spraying? Premiering and streaming live August 18th at the 3-day event, Consciousness Beyond Chemtrails Conference and Fundraiser in Los Angeles. For more info, go to www.cbclive2012.com. Why in the world are they spraying? Order your copy today at www.whyintheworldaretheyspraying.com. Watch the premiere live August 18th at the 3-day event, Consciousness Beyond Chemtrails Conference and Fundraiser in Los Angeles. For more info, go to www.cbclive2012.com. Why in the world are they spraying?
And if you control the weather, you're going to control the planet. It's that simple.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the Liberty's true identity, and so they took advantage of the serenity. They attacked the silent ship.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to your voice counts. Phil Tourney, your guest, and we also have another person on the line we're going to bring up here in just a little bit, Ron Kukul. Former communications technician, spy, worked for the National Security Agency, and a good friend, and a very, very intelligent man. And Gary, I just wanted to say, I was 14 years old when your father got shot down, and I always thought, well, the Soviet Union, boy, they really scored one there, and they really used that as a propaganda tool, and for your father to go through what he did is amazing, heroic, courageous, and a true American hero. And I bless him for his courageous actions, and I also bless you, Gary, for making sure the true truth comes out about your father and what you're doing right now. Please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Phil. I appreciate those comments and nice accolades towards Dad. I'll get into some personal anecdotes here after I finish up the story for your listeners here. Once Dad came back home, was debriefed here before the Senate Select Committee hearing on March 6th of 1962, Prescott Bush, Barry Goldwater Sr., and Senator Russell were three of the gentlemen that were on this committee. They and their colleagues exonerate my dad of any wrongdoing and show him to be a fine young man performing well under dangerous circumstances. But back in 1962, 2 years after the U-2 incident, a few months after Bay of Pigs, after the erection of the Berlin Wall, just a few months until the Cuban Missile Crisis. It was a very tense time in world history. And at the time my dad was exonerated, not a lot of the misinformation could be absorbed. It couldn't be clarified. And so all these rumors and speculations and different stories of what he should or shouldn't have done continued to circulate around then, and it continues to circulate around today. When I was growing up, I was always aware of my father and what he did for our country. He died when I was 12 years old in 1977 from a helicopter accident working for NBC television. At that time, I was too young to really understand the significance of what he had gone through. I was very introverted throughout high school. I came out of my shell in college and started to do research. This research led me to the Washington, D.C. area in 1992. I attended George Mason University up in Northern Virginia, did a master's degree in public administration, nonprofit management, and started doing research on my father and the U-2 incident. Started giving lectures to high school students in the area. 9 times out of 10, I'd walk into a high school classroom to give a talk on the U-2 incident. I'd get blank stares from the students. They thought I was there to talk about the U-2 rock band, not the U-2 incident. And that was the first clue that something had to be done to preserve Cold War history. A few years go by. I'm invited to attend a Cold War conference in Bodø, Norway. This airfield, Bodø Aviation Center Museum up there, is where my father would have landed had the mission been successful on May 1st. So Bodø, Norway is the end location for that mission. I was able to get a sponsor to help offset costs, went over for this conference, met Sergei Khrushchev, Khrushchev's son, met some international Cold War figures from America and the former Soviet Union, did a lecture there to the international audience, and came back home with this idea to create a permanent Cold War museum to honor Cold War veterans and preserve Cold War history. My first business plan said I'd be done in 3 years. Well, it's been 15 now, and they're just about ready to open. So it always takes a little bit longer to do things you want to do, but perseverance and a little bit of struggle, but we made it through, and it's getting closer to opening here this year. With the Cold War Museum, we have been collecting artifacts for the last 15-plus years. We're trying to show international aspect of Cold War history, including exhibits on the USS Liberty, the USS Pueblo, overhead reconnaissance, the U-2 incident, the Bay of Pigs, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the other very important parts of the Cold War from 1945, the end of World War II, up through 1991, and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. So the Cold War Museum, after many years of trying to find a permanent location, has found one at Vint Hill. Vint Hill, Virginia, is a former Army communication base, 40 miles from Washington, D.C., used throughout the World War II and Cold War era to monitor electronic communications of our enemies. It was closed in the mid-'90s by BRAC, Base Realignment and Closure Act, and then it was redeveloped into a variety of mixed use. There's homes, there's some retail that's being moved in, there's a winery, FAA hub, a couple of government contractors on site, as well as parks and recreation and swimming pools and other amenities. So this is a wonderful site, 40 miles from Washington, D.C., on an authentic Cold War historic site. The Cold War Museum has worked with Vint Hill EDA. We brokered a deal with them. We have a modest 2,000 square foot exhibit space, 2 floors, that is now full of Cold War artifacts. And then we have another additional 2,000 square feet of storage where we are trying to process and determine what the displays and exhibits we can make from what we have. So it's been a long time, but we had a soft opening this past year, November, and we are looking to do a formal grand opening here in the next few months after the 50th anniversary of the Cuban Missile Crisis is done.
Gary, you know, I congratulate you on getting this done, and you know, you think 1 year, 2 years, 3 years is going to be done. Just like you said, it just takes a little bit longer to get wonderful things and wonderful, you know, facts where they should be. You know, what I wanted to ask you, Gary, was I know you're a young child, and then your father goes through all this, and you were a little introverted, you said, and then when you became a man and decided this is what I'm going to do, did you ever think back to any of your talks with your father? Did he ever say, son, this is what the real deal is, and this is what you should believe in and not believe in, or did he give you that type of advice?
My father and mother both, when I was growing up, instilled in me some very good qualities. First off, they taught me from a very young age that just because Dad is who he is, you're no better than anybody else. But at the same token, nobody else is better than you. You're all equals. You treat each other with respect, regardless of your position in society, and you always try to do your best. My parents never tried to force me to go a certain path. They always kept it open for me to decide on my own what my fate would lead. And so in the beginning, I was very confused as to what I should do because I wasn't getting a lot of direction. But then they always instilled in me, whatever you do, Gary, if it's a ditch digger, if it's a truck driver, if it's an astronaut, whatever the case may be the best at it you can. Do the best job you can. And so that's what I have always tried to do, is when I tackle something, I try to do the best job I can. With the Cold War Museum, it was something that had to be done. I was at the right place at the right time with some individuals to help found this museum. We didn't have a lot of money in the bank to begin with. We have a modest amount now, and we are looking to continue to build the museum so that future generations can learn and remember about the Cold War time period and what we went through.
Gary, what we'll do before this show's over, no doubt, is make sure that people know how to donate to the Cold War Museum, and especially in honor of your father. You know, your father, and I've read up on him, not in great detail, but in the heart, in my heart, the detail, what it takes to be a person, a pilot of his caliber, is unbelievable. It is to me a great, great, great honor to even read about your father and what he did for this nation, and is continued doing today with your great efforts with the Cold War Museum. Now we have Ron Kugel on the line. I know Ron wants to get in on this because Ron is such a ardent supporter and shipmate, and probably one of the best friends I got on this earth. And go ahead, Ron.
Thanks, Phil. You know, actually tonight I wanted to talk to Gary just for a short bit, congratulate him for what he's doing. It seems like, well, we go back a ways. I think I sent some items to him that I hope will be on display someday. I even think, if I remember correctly, there was, I actually sent him original copies of letters I had from Thomas More, and I believe a uniform that I had, hopefully that would go on display. What's really been just absolutely satisfying and gratifying to me is that the official Naval Museum in Norfolk, Virginia, has taken one of my uniforms and has it on display right now. That's gratifying to me. It's not that the uniform has anything really to do with me specifically. It does represent the whole crew. I just happen to have a good, clean uniform that looked good. And Gary, I just wanted to say howdy. Thank you very much for what you're doing, what you're trying to do to preserve, history. And when I heard you talking a little bit about talking in classrooms, I've done a little bit of talking myself and going to do a little bit more, quite a little bit more in the state of Wyoming, traveling the state of Wyoming at the request of the governor of Wyoming to tell the story about the Liberty. And I have walked into certain situations where people have had the blank stare, and the YouTube rock group you were talking about. Anyway, I'll shut up for a minute. I just want to say howdy.
Well, thank you, Ron. It's good to talk to you again. I've been very privileged to have met Ron in person, have attended USS Liberty reunions in the past, have lectured to them about our efforts to preserve Cold War history and honor Cold War veterans. I can think of no finer group of men to have served in our United States military. Just like my father and his contemporaries in the U-2 program, these individuals, like they do today, they put their life on the line, they protect our freedoms and liberties at home, and it's because of the sacrifices of men like my father, like the USS Liberty crew members, like the Pueblo crew members and others, that this world, this America is as good as it is, and we have to preserve that for our future generations.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, gentlemen, both of you, the great men still exist, and they join, they go in. You know, I let my sons know about the USS Liberty and what went on and what happened to me and my shipmates and their families and whatnot of being rejected by our own government. And my son served in Afghanistan for approximately 14 months and then spent 15 months in a wounded warrior program before he was discharged and retired by the United States Army. So what I get from this, and he knew what he was getting into, but he wanted to serve his country. The red, white, and blue flows through all of us. And I thank all the servicemen and women serving right now, but I do not wish them the road that my son went down in Afghanistan and is still working on today. Go ahead.
I don't know if that was feedback or something else.
It could be. I just wanted to get that in, that young men and women do serve, and I hope you heard what I said, but I'm very proud of my son. I'm glad he's out of the Army. I'm not glad he's was in the Wounded Warrior program for 15 months before he got out, but he did get discharged and you know, retired from the United States Army because of his service and wounds. So, but that happens to many people. But it goes right back. This country is so proud and so happy to be part of the United States military. And then does the United States military abandon them? Yes, they do. They did it to us, and they will do it over and over again to the rest of them. And I hate to say that, but it's just the way it works. What do you think about that, Gary?
Well, it's a slippery slope, Phil. Governments, not just American governments, but all governments, have certain agendas that they follow, and the military personnel are pawns in a chess game. They're the ones that can be sacrificed. They're the ones who are on the front lines defending and our freedoms, but the policy wonks and the politicians at home sometimes will manipulate them for their own benefit at the detriment to their themselves. So it's unfortunate that happens, but hopefully after time and with the efforts of the Cold War Museum and other institutions, the truth of what took place will be established, will be documented, will be confirmed, and the misinformation and the rumors and speculation, or the disinformation for that matter, can be put to rest.
Say, Gary?
Yes.
I'm kind of interested in, I didn't quite catch everything, but the last I knew, you had a kind of a missile base where this is all going to take place. Now there's another location, right?
Correct.
I'm sorry, I'm not up to speed on this.
No problem. Let me fill you in on what has transpired the last few years. Back in approximately 2008, we started to negotiate, maybe 2007, with Fairfax County Park Authority for use of a Nike missile base, Lorton, Virginia, about 20 miles from Washington, D.C. We had arranged for some donors to contribute money for the project. The county had put together a lease We were negotiating the details of the lease, and all of a sudden it got to a point where the county wouldn't sign the lease without the money in the bank. The donors wouldn't give the money without the lease signed. So we were in a catch-22. After about another 3 months of trying to put this together, the negotiations fell apart. The parties walked away from the table, and I'm banging my head on my desk going, oh my gosh, what's just happened?
Wow.
We'll finish this up afterwards.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, Gary. You heard the music before I did, but folks, this is a very, very interesting show. Show your support for America. Show your support for RBN. Show your support for RBN sponsors, and thank you. We'll be right back with the beautiful music of Cat Faber. Thank you.
Are you concerned about fluoride, chlorine, parasites, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Dalton ceramic water filters have been made continuously since 1827 and are used by disaster relief organizations and in third world countries to supply safe drinking water. Not only do we offer gravity filter systems, but also under the sink and countertop systems. Our replacement filters can be used to upgrade your existing system. And unlike some other filters on the market, Dalton filters do not have to be primed. For more information, call us at 800-696-1435, 800-696-1435, or order online at Dalton.com. That's DOULTON.com.
As many of you know, natural supplements are fantastic for your body and have zero side effects. You need to restore your body's natural balance. TerraVim strives to carry only the highest quality dietary supplements and natural vitamins that can be beneficial in helping your body recover from the impact of daily stress, allergens, illness, environmental pollution, and the aging process. Why buy from TerraVim? Simple. TerraVim provides a rewards program. Earn $1 for every $10 spent, free health consultations, free shipping on all orders, and an additional 10% discount on every order when you mention the coupon code RBN. Call 866-647-4372. That's 866-647-4372, or go to terravim.com. That's TerraVim.com. TerraVim, the best supplements on earth.
In times like these, you can't depend on the government to keep you warm and fed, but you can depend on the Vermont Bun Baker to do just that. With the Vermont Bun Baker, you'll never be in a situation where you can't cook, bake, fry, boil water, or heat your home, all at the same time. One of the most revolutionary cook stoves, wood stoves ever, the Vermont Bun Baker is available with or without soapstone veneer, a natural stone that retains heat and radiates it back into the room once the fire is out. A beautiful addition to your home. The Vermont Bun Baker has an efficiency rating well above 75% and qualifies for the wood stove tax credit. For more information, watch the Vermont Bun Baker on YouTube and live stream, or visit us at www.vermontwoodstove.com. You can also reach us by calling 1-866-SOAPSTONE. Don't ever be hungry or cold because the power's gone out. With a Vermont Bun Baker, all you have to worry about is what's for dinner.
Well, the time has finally come for the story to be told that should have been listened to a long time ago. In 1967, on the 8th day of June, came the attack of the Liberty and the needless loss of many of the crew, and the Liberty fell like a wounded, dying man.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts. Thank you for being aboard. Support you very much in our efforts in your efforts to call in, to listen. And, you know, we certainly at RBN appreciate it. And I know we got several callers that want to get online, but we're going to take them in just about 5 minutes or 7 minutes after the hour. But, you know, Gary, I wonder, growing up with an American hero, your father, and his outlook on life after what he had to go through in a Russian gulag, a Russian prison, did he come back with any severe injuries or anything from what they did to him?
Fortunately, my father did not go through any physical torture, so there was no ill effects of that. There was a lot of mental anguish, bright lights, spotlights, grueling questions, threats of death, sleep deprivation, and you know, interrogation tactics. But fortunately, there was no physical abuse. So as a result, when Dad did come home, he had some night frights for a while. He'd wake up in bed thinking he was still in the prison, and then all of a sudden realize he was back at home. And over time, it went from once a week to once a month to once a year to hardly ever. So by the time I was born in '65, you know, it was pretty much all that it was put behind him. So fortunately, in prison, my father developed some type of a stomach problem where he could not digest foods properly because of the poor nutrition and the poor diet. And when he came back home, he had to have a couple of pills to help digest certain foods. So that was the only ill effect from his incarceration. Unlike those in Vietnam and Korea and those who have endured much more brutal hardships, Dad got off very easily, very luckily.
Okay, now, Gary, how about the ill effects of the debriefing by the United States government on your father?
Dad was extensively debriefed by the CIA and by our government. At first, they were very concerned about the altitude that he was shot down at. Some of them at first did not believe what he was telling them, that he was at altitude at 70,500 feet when an SA-2 missile exploded below and to the right of the aircraft. It turns out that there were some NSA reports that contradicted what my father had said, that the NSA had tracked the plane descending to a lower altitude or had monitored communications, Russian communications, indicating that there was a plane descending. In hindsight now, after 50 years of declassification documents and conferences and authors doing research on both sides, that NSA report, which is still classified, by the way, we are 99% sure that it is the Su-9, a Soviet plane that zoomed up to intercept my father, overshot him, and then had to come back down in a circular motion to land at the airport where he was taken off from. So there are things like this that after 50 years have finally been put to rest, but people will always continue to read the misinformation from 1960, from 1962. We used to look at microfilm machines. Now we go to Google, bring it up on front page, see the front page Washington Post stories from 1960, regurgitate the misinformation, and miss all the stuff that happened in the last 40 years.
Okay, Gary, keep that thought going. We got Ron Kukl on still, and we got two guests that want to come up, two callers, and ask some questions of you, Gary, and I hope you're up for it. Remember, RB. Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts, and I hate to cut Kat's beautiful music off, but we have so many things going on, and I want to get this message out. You know, due diligence, get the work done. And I'll tell you what, Gary, you've done so much for this country with the Cold War Museum and what your father's done. And you continue to do, like being on radio shows like this and you know, speaking around the country. I salute you, sir. And we have two guests that want to get on board. And Ron Kukl, don't go away. But I think we got Mr. from Montana Mister, are you still there? Okay, Montana. I guess not. How about Arizona? Kim,
right here. Okay.
Okay. Are you from Montana? Oh, Mark. How you doing, Mark?
No, this is Ken from Arizona.
Oh, sorry, Ken. Mark must have dropped off.
That's all right, buddy. I just wanted to throw something into your guest here, and something that, because I got firsthand on this. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm 63 years old, and I saw what happened, and I know what's going on in the world there a little bit. But we got to look at one thing, and this is certainly imperative for all of us, that this new issue, the bill measure, state legislation that they have out in California to remove the crosses because it offends the Muslims. You didn't read. People need to read back on about page 220 of that. They want to take the crosses away from the whole United States of America. That means Arlington National Cemetery. And I take issue with this. If your guest there because of the Liberty, and I know his heart is there, you need to look this up. It's going to be a subsection and a bill. And when they want to start taking those crosses off Arlington, there's a song by, and I'm not trying to pimp his music, but by Trace Atkins. I even have it queued up. It's the Song of Arlington. And as a Vietnam vet, I find this very, very offensive.
Now, who wants to take them off? The Muslims or or Israel?
The Muslims, and you can look it up under the ACLU's website, and it's right there. And they want all the crosses gone.
I haven't heard about that one, Ken. Can you weigh in on that one, Gary?
I'm not familiar with what's happening in California. I do believe that the politically correct issues are going to be the downfall of this nation.
Yes, and that's not politically even correct. That's not even anywhere close. As a God-fearing Christian man that went to Vietnam and did what my forefathers expected me to do, right, wrong, or indifferent, when they want to start taking these crosses off Arlington, if we do not stand up and tell these people to go home, we deserve what we get. We deserve what we get. And I'll take the rest. I'll listen to the rest of the show offline. Okay, buddy? Thanks for all you do.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to say one thing. I haven't heard this. I haven't seen it, but I do know that there was an amendment in California that if you say anything out of order about Jews in general, you will be classified as an anti-Semite, and that goes against the free speech of America. I think that was on several radio shows and television. So what do you think about that one, Gary?
Well, I hear the music again.
Okay, we'll get you on the other side, and we get a little bit of break here.
All right.
I'm not giving you a whole lot. I'm kind of goofing up your show, aren't I?
No, it's your show. I'm just along for the ride.
Oh, okay. Hang on, Kukul. We'll be right back, folks. Remember, RBN.
Herbal Healer Academy's new summer specials. Our 500 parts per million colloidal silver, all sizes on sale. Organic liquid iodine, liquid cal, meg, vitamin D, CoQ10 with hawthorn, colon enhancer, Super 2, natural laxative, our exceptional product Connexin, memory power, and Super Male and Femplex. All on sale for the summer at herbalhealer.com. Also, 10% off on the HHA survival course. This is an important time to have this information. Might save your life. Nation's leader in supplying quality natural medicine and education. herbalhealer.com. Free online newsletter. Quality natural medicine supplier since 1988. We ship the same day you place your order. Free 128-page catalog with your first order. Go to herbalhealer.com today. herbalhealer.com.
This is an important message from HempUSA.org for our listeners who are advancing in age, baby boomers, and to all who want to be healthy. We urge you to try our microplant powder and see the difference it makes in your life. Please visit HempUSA.org and read about microplant powder. It's easy to take, 1 heaping tablespoon in any liquid 3 times a day. Call 908-691-2608 or visit HempUSA.org. Please inform your family, friends, and relatives about this incredible product. It can change your life if you give it a chance. So try microplant powder today. Call 908-691-2608. In this toxic world, microplant powder can help now in cleaning out heavy metals, parasites, viruses, fungus, and bacteria. Please download our catalog at HempUSA.org today.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Well, finally, the officials back to Washington sent out a message that the ship moved farther out to sea. There were too many errors and too much time wasted. The bombs were coming down. It would be too late.
Here we go, folks. We got, good 40 minutes of airtime left on Your Voice Counts on RBN. Thank you for listening. And, you know, I wondered about the last caller and what I heard. And I hear so many things. I see so many things on the Internet. But I must say, through my own experience, and I think through a lot of my different friends, that the Israeli AIPAC, ADL, has more influence on the United States government than our own Congress. So, I mean, where do we go from here? I do know that after 45 years, the Congress of the United States will not touch the USS Liberty subject, as it will not touch Gary Power's subject because of it's classified. But after 45 years and 50 years, I mean, national security, I think, has gone by the wayside, other than the fact that it was a false flag cover-up by two governments, Israel and the United States, against the USS Liberty. And then for, of course, Gary's father, even probably much more things were going on. So, Gary, with that in mind, what are your views?
Well, fortunately for my father and the U-2 incident, there have been declassification conferences. There have been new books and authors that have written from this material from both sides of the Soviet archives and American archives. And 99% of everything that my father went through is now out there for public consumption, and the truth is known. In 1998, there was a declassification conference hosted by the CIA and the Air Force in Washington, D.C. As a result of that 1998 declassification conference on the U-2 program from 1954 to 1974, a lot of information on the U-2 incident was declassified, of which some is that it was a joint U.S. Air Force CIA operation. Up until that time, it was only a CIA operation. But in 1998, it was finally revealed that it was a joint operation. The altitude my father was flying at, 70,500 feet, was declassified. And other smaller tidbits about his route, how high he was flying, the flight time, the takeoff, different things that were still a little bit shrouded in mystery. In addition, it was shown that Dad did not reveal any sensitive information, that he did not defect, that he did not corroborate with the enemy, some of the stuff that had been circulating around. So for my father, that conference led to his posthumous awarding of a POW medal, a prisoner of war medal in 2000, as well as a CIA medal from the director of Central Intelligence at the time, George Tenet, awarded him posthumously the Director's Medal for extreme fidelity and courage in the line of duty. And then just more recently, in 2012, so another 12 years later, from 2000, Dad was again posthumously awarded, this time in the Pentagon, on June 15th with the Silver Star. And this was done because precedent had been set with other Cold War airmen who were shot down at the same time, who served time in the same prison my father was at during the 60s. And so all of a sudden, after 52 years, for my father and the U-2 incident, the record has been set straight. So, Dad has received his accolades. He's been posthumously awarded. He's an American hero. It's a great honor to, have this bestowed upon my father, even after his passing. And eventually, we hope to do the same thing with the USS Liberty and the USS Pueblo, find out the truth of what took place. One of the things that I find very interesting in my research is you hear what the government say. And from my perspective, from Eisenhower, he got caught lying about the U-2 incident. Kennedy got caught lying about Marilyn Monroe. Johnson got caught lying about Vietnam. Nixon got caught lying about Watergate. Clinton got caught about Monica. We know that presidents can and do lie to the American public. We know that governments can lie to the world publics. And if you talk to the crew members, if you talk to the first-hand participants who actually were there, who witnessed it, that's where you get the right information. That's where you get the truth of what took place, not what is then spun through government hierarchies to come out to make them look good or not embarrass the administration. So my research, I always go to first-hand accounts, and those are the people that were in the field that witnessed this firsthand, and their accounts are the ones that matter the most.
Gary, very interesting. Very interesting you say that because of our age. They're just waiting for us to die out and never get in front of Congress and never tell our eyewitness story. Now, just because a person does age a little bit doesn't make them nuts or crazy. And so with that being said, with the USS Liberty investigation, if it is so cut and dry and so easy to communicate to the American public and everybody around the world that it was a mistaken identity, all you have to do is take us up on our issue, folks, with the United States government, that this act by the government of Israel was cold-blooded murder and an act of war and many, many war crimes. Now, if you think that I'm a nut, I'm not. If you want to take us up on this, please do it and prove us wrong, because we will be there lockstep in line to let you know everything that happened to us June 8, 1967. And after that, being told by our own government, if we did not lie or tell anybody about this, that they would put us in prison or worse. Now, how low can you go? They recall the rescue aircraft, then they tell us to lie about it and never breathe a word about it, or we'll go to prison or worse. It's despicable. It is dishonest. It's more than I can say, and it brings a real heart bump to me, because we have 34 American sailors that lost their lives out there, never had a chance at life, and God bless them. If I have anything to do about it, and Ron Kukl and John Godusco and Gary Brummett and many, many others, as yourself, we're going to get this straightened out while we're all dead and gone. Go ahead, Ron. Ron must have dropped off. Go ahead, Gary.
Well, it's a long fight, and it's a right fight. You've got to stand up for what you believe in, and eventually, as enough time passes, as enough of the folks pass away, those who will be mostly embarrassed by their decisions at the time, enough time will have passed where the truth can come out. Fortunately for my father, it's come out. But unfortunately for other incidents during the Cold War, it's not yet come full circle. So you have to keep moving that agenda forward and keep reminding people to look at both sides and to not take not put down the sailors for talking their mind and telling the truth.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons I wrote my book, What I Saw That Day. And you can get that book, just go to 888-698-8706. It's called What I Saw That Day. Took me a while to write it, well, almost 45 years, but I finally got it done. But very proud of the book. It's got a lot of interesting passages in it, and it's getting a lot of great reviews. And I'm very proud of that. And I wanted to bring up another guest. We got Jim from... I think Louisiana or L.A. Jim, are you there?
Yeah, it's me, Phil. How's it going?
Oh, James, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. I just wanted to give you a heads up to the guy that's been neocon in the last call. I did a fact check. Well, first of all, it's good to be on with Gary Powers' son too. I remember when his dad had. I'm based in L.A., as you said, Los Angeles, and I remember when his dad, the helicopter had crashed for NBC out here, and it was a sad day because I remember the history going back with his father, with what happened with the U-2. So my condolences there. I know it's a long time ago, but I still remember it like it was yesterday. You're very welcome. For a lot of things to touch on. First thing is that caller that you had. I think he's been watching a little bit too much of neocon propaganda, that they give to the Christians now with the evangelical side of things. If you look up factcheck.org, there's no such lawsuit that the ACLU, and I'm not the biggest fan of the ACLU, perhaps I've been supporting them when they've tried to out what's been happening with the torture and all that under the Bush-Cheney regime, but other than that, I'm not really a fan of the ACLU, a little too liberal for me. But I looked up that factcheck.org on the internet here and was compelled to call in. There is no such case where the ACLU is suing to have cross-shaped headstones removed from military cemeteries. However, as I put it in my ushijack.com blog, you can scroll down to it there. It's on the first page. There is something that is very concerning for anybody, any one of us who are worried about the continuation of the First Amendment freedom of speech with the Constitution here. In the California State Assembly, they just passed a resolution.
Hang on, James. Hang on to your thought. We got the music coming on. Please hang on, Gary. We'll get right back. Again, folks, please support your sponsors in RBN. They spend a lot of time here trying to get their goods out, and this station's got to make a few bucks to keep on going. So God bless you all. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Meet Jerry D.
Hi.
Jerry and his family, like you, are very concerned about world conditions and have gathered many emergency preparedness items, including Turtle Tough shelters.
We have added 2 24-foot Turtle Toughs to our supplies and feel very secure knowing our large family is ready for whatever the future may bring.
Turtle Tough shelters are not tents. They are permanent yet portable 4-season geodesic frame shelters that are as strong as a cabin at a fraction of the cost and are easy to set up, take down, and move anywhere. Available in 2 sizes. Get your Turtle Tough shelter and accessories included at TurtleToughShelters.com. That's Turtle, T-U-F-F Shelters.com. Or call 801-623-3288. That's 801-623-3288. Or see them online at TurtleToughShelters.com. Turtle Tough Shelters, your all-season home away from home.
Hey there, my name is Frank Bates. What I'm about to tell you in the next 60 seconds could get me in a lot of trouble. I just created a free video presentation at 123crooks.com that exposes the electricity monopolies and government agencies for what they really are. Incompetent, lying crooks that are counting on your ignorance and fear to keep your power bills criminally high. Some have called this a conspiracy. Others have called it a cover-up. And you'll be shocked to find out how deep the conspiracy goes. My video at 123crooks.com exposes the truth and shows you the secret of how I beat them and how you can beat them too. Watch the controversial video that thousands of other smart patriots have already seen in the last 3 months. Go to 123crooks.com and discover one weird trick to slash your power bill and protect your home. Go watch my video now at 123crooks.com before they force me to shut it down. 123crooks.com.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
They said that Israeli forces knew not of the Liberty's true identity, and so they took advantage of the serenity. They attacked the silent ship, making a 40-foot hole in the starboard, killing 24, wounding almost 200 more. They're just sending down merciless napalm. It looked like a devil Star Wars, and the Liberty fell like a wounded and dying lamb. The men and the lives betrayed, and their souls were surely damned. And all the fear and the death and the pain will never depart me. I'll hear the bomb.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go back to Your Voice Counts on RBN, Republic Broadcasting Network. And James, go ahead. I guess you had a thought you wanted to get in, and then we'll see what Gary has to say about it.
Sure, just a couple of points. First of all, I can't forget to say UCLA is playing Nebraska tomorrow on a big national telecast on Fox at I think 5:30 your time, Phil, 4:30 Pacific. So you got to watch that one. Big UCLA Bruin fan here. It's my alma mater, of course. Hope they do well against Nebraska, the Rose Bowl tomorrow night nationally. But anyway, back to my point, back to California here. This is very, very concerning. The California State Assembly has just passed, it's called H.R. 35. It's just passed a resolution making any criticism of Israel on college campuses in California, to include at UCLA, calling it anti-Semitism. Now that is an assault not only on the First Amendment of the Constitution, Bill of Rights, of course, but also it goes against the California State Constitution. And I think a big deal should be made of this, because this just shows the ADL influence, perhaps AIPAC as well, on not only the U.S. Congress. We've already seen that for years. I mean, take, for example, why the USS Liberty remains covered up, but also on the California State Assembly. And I'm telling you, that is a direct assault on our freedom of speech, and it's exactly what that former Israeli minister warned about on my friend's YouTube. You can go to it, tinyurl.com//Zionist trick, and she said that they try to, basically the Israel Firsters in America try to paint people as anti-Semitic to prevent criticism of Israel, and that's exactly what they're doing here in the State Assembly in California. Another point I wanted to make is that Valentino's Ghost film that I'm in with my confrontation or exchange with Lee Hamilton of the 9/11 Commission, conveying how U.S. support for Israel was the primary motivation for not only the tragic attack on 9/11, but earlier at the World Trade Center in '93. That actually, I mean, this is some good news, had a standing ovation at its screening this past week at the Venice International Film Festival in Italy, the world's oldest and most prestigious film festival. And I just heard from the producer, Michael Singh, that the Dubai Film Festival is very interested in screening it in December as well. So that's good news on that front. But I also wanted to ask Gary, you've got this interesting Cold War museum, which I'm very interested in as well. You've mentioned it's going to be set up outside of Washington, D.C., 40 miles or so. Don't you think that with these neocons now that are so influential on the Republican Party, and especially with Mitt Romney, and I just hope he doesn't get in. I was a Ron Paul supporter and no fan of Obama, but I think he's a little bit better than Romney, and hopefully he'll get back in over Romney. But what I'm concerned about now is we all know that these neoconservatives that push us into the Iraq war for Israel, they'd like to do the same with Syria and Iran, and hopefully Israel won't attack Iran a couple of weeks before the upcoming election and draw us into it. They may just do that. Hopefully they won't. I've got some posts about that at ushijack.com. But anyway, cutting to the chase, are we in danger if Romney gets in there of these neocons igniting another Cold War? I mean, for Romney to go on in that speech that he made recently at the RNC last week in Tampa, saying that Russia is our enemy, our greatest enemy, that's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not saying the Soviet Union wasn't in its time, but as President Putin was just on RT, Russia Today, in an interview, he said those days are in the past, and we've got to work together now. But what you have these Israel First neocons who can't stand Russia because they don't go along with the war for Israel agenda at the UN against Syria and Iran. I'd like you to weigh in on that, Gary. Do you think there's a chance of us getting another Cold War started if Romney gets in there with this neocon influence?
There's always the potential to have another Cold War started regardless of who gets into the White House on our end. We have to learn from our mistakes. We've got to learn from our past history. I hope that future administrations will be able to have these lessons learned from the Cold War and from the War on Terror as to what not to do in the future. I am very, very concerned about the slippery slope that we're coming down with the loss of our civil liberties, that they're eroding, chipping away this right, chipping away that right, and over time, all of a sudden, we look back and we got no more rights. I am very fearful and concerned about the future of America in this presidential election. We've got two candidates, and personally, I'm not sure if I could vote for either.
I feel the same, Gary. I know exactly where you're coming from. Phil and I have talked about it, believe me, we were going to write in Ron Paul as a protest vote. But God forsake if Romney gets in there. I mean, I'm no supporter of Obama either. Look how he's kept Gitmo open. He's done assassination on Americans, without trial, indefinite detainment. He's got lawyers pushing that NDAA for enabling the military to arrest Americans, and the military's even against that. So no, I'm no fan of Obama either. Believe me, I was a Ron Paul supporter all the way.
Yep, and what you've just said is what I alluded to earlier about the chipping away of our civil liberties. Those type of things are very concerning to me. When I was growing up, my parents instilled in me that America did not start wars. America went to the aid. America was there to help. It was not an antagonist. And
Here we go, folks. We got another break coming up. Sorry to change the the tone of your comments here and talks, but we got to go to a break. Be right back. Thank you. Support RBN and their sponsors.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
How would you like to own land? A refuge to escape from big cities, possible food shortages, the collapse of the dollar, or just a vacation trip is now available to you. Lots of fishing and hunting are available just across the Rio Grande River. Own your personal Colorado Wilderness RV lot within 3 stones throw of the Rio Grande River for $1,395. Quarter-acre lots, county road access. All lots come with warranty deed. All just for $1,395. Call 785-672-3141. 785-672-3141. Or go online to ColoradoRiverLots.com for more information and to see photos. It is away from civilization, a good business investment, and a low-cost protection plan. Call today, 785-672-3141.
As many of you know, natural supplements are fantastic for your body and have zero side effects. You need to restore your body's natural balance. TerraVim strives to carry only the highest quality dietary supplements and natural vitamins that can be beneficial in helping your body recover from the impact of daily stress, allergens, illness, environmental pollution, and the aging process. Why buy from TerraVim? Simple. TerraVim provides a rewards program. Earn $1 for every $10 spent, free health consultations, free shipping on all orders, and an additional 10% discount on every order when you mention the coupon code RBN. Call 866-647-4372. That's 866-647-4372, or go to terravim.com. That's TerraVim.com. TerraVim, the best supplements on earth.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Well, the time has finally come for the story to be told that should have been listened to a long time ago. In 1967, on the 8th day of June, came the attack of the Liberty and the needless loss of many of the crew, and the Liberty fell like a wounded, dying man. The man in the life betrayed.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts. We got a little good run here, and we'll get back to this conversation here, but I got some stuff that I have to get taken care of right away, and it is something that's very, very, very important to the USS Liberty and to the people that are trying to educate and get the truth out about what's going on to help the USS Liberty. Now, this group is putting together a permanent USS Liberty memorial. I've already contributed to it, and many, many others have too. But please write this down, folks. Please write this down. President at Solidarity, SOLIDARITYUS.org. I'm going to say it again. That's how important it is. President at SOLIDARITYUS.org. This gentleman's name is David. Just write to David, and he'll give you all the information. Now, this permanent memorial is going to be put in place for the survivors, the dead that were killed on June 8, 1967. If you want to get in on the most prestigious the most great event that I've ever been involved in with the USS Liberty for over 30 years as being three-time president. I'm telling you, folks, you got to get involved in this. All you have to do is go to David. He'll let you know everything. You'll look at the site and see what it is. The unfortunate part of it is the Liberty Veterans Association, which I'm a member of, and many others are, the Liberty Veterans Association's Joe Metters, he was a seaman aboard the USS Liberty. Stan White, he's a Master Chief aboard the USS Liberty. Ed Lewis, at the time I think he was a lieutenant commander and retired as a commander. Bryce Lockwood was a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. And Rocky Sturman, I think, was a seaman aboard the USS Liberty. The board has turned down this project. The USS Liberty board has turned down this project. Yeah, Joe Metters, Stan White, Ed Lewis, Bryce Lockwood, and Rocky Sturman, because they feel that it is a ploy or whatever to use the USS Liberty. Well, it isn't. I'm a three-time president of the USS Liberty Veterans Association. I know what's going on. I'm disgusted by this board. I'm very unhappy with this board, and they've done a very, very terrible disservice to you, to do the USS Liberty veterans. And we have been ordered by these potentates not to use the USS Liberty Veterans Association as a stepping board. Well, I can guarantee you, folks, we will not use their name because they are not worth it. I hate to say that about my shipmates, but they better get their information together, because this is one of the greatest things that's ever happened to the USS Liberty. Remember, go to president@solidarityus.org, and I'll leave it at that. Go ahead with the, what do you wanted to finish up with, James or Gary? Are we still there? Are you still there, James? Okay, Gary, the reason I said this is so important, and it is something that is dear in my heart and dear to many, many, many survivors aboard the USS Liberty. I know that it would be hard for you to comment on this, but it is something that's been in my heart for the last month and a half, and many survivors are behind it. And, you know, they say, you know, divide and conquer. Where do you think that's going? Divide and conquer? Are you still there, Gary?
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I must have had my phone on mute. I am sorry to hear that there's discontent within the Liberty organization. I've worked with Joe, with you. I've met with different crew members over the years, and my goal is to help preserve your history within the Cold War Museum, so that we can keep that history alive for future generations. I'm not sure if there's any outside forces acting on your group to divide and conquer or to split your factions. I hope that's not the case, and that you can unite and go forward together as one strong, solid group. But you know, a little ruffling of the feathers here and there happens in organizations, but hopefully you can get past it and get back on track.
Oh, absolutely. With small groups, and then you have a few that decide for all of us, and we didn't get a vote on it, but that's okay. Things like that do happen. But I just wanted to remind the people that about this site, what it does. It is a memorial, a standing memorial forever that will remember the crew of the USS Liberty and the men that died on that ship that day. And I think that's a very honorable act. And it's not political. It's just the truth. And a memorial, any type of memorial we can get, just like the Cold War Museum that you started and are still in charge of, is so important to get the truth out. It is, to me, it's the most important thing. And with the museum that you have and all the articles that you have, I mean, you have to be so proud of yourself and what you've done.
Well, thank you. I'm still not quite sure what I have done, but I am working towards making sure that this history is preserved. It was not just me that did this. I mean, I'm the founder of the museum, yes, but it was the dedicated work of our board of directors, our volunteers, students from George Mason University who helped to create the first website, everybody who worked together to move the museum forward up until the point where, we've had a soft opening, and within the next few months we'll be having a grand opening. So it's not just me that did this effort. It was a combination of people from your association, from the Pueblo Association, from the SR-71 community, from the U2 community. We had veterans from ASA, Army Security Agency. We had alumni groups associated with intelligence officers who have all helped out over the years. So it was just one big effort to help preserve this history for future generations. I'd like to be able to take credit for it, but I really can't. I have to share that with everybody who made us get this far along. One of the things I do want to mention to your audience before we run out of time is in our effort to preserve Cold War history, we have been doing Cold War conversations for the past few years, an annual conference. Our next one happens in October of this year. October, 50 years ago, would be the 50th anniversary of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And so we have assembled a all-star panel of experts and first-hand participants to come to George Mason University on Saturday, October 27th, to discuss recollections from both the Soviet and American side from the Cuban Missile Crisis. We have Sergei Khrushchev-san. He is lined up to be the keynote speaker. We've got Buddy Brown, who was a U-2 pilot who flew over Cuba during the crisis. We have Tad Riley, who was an F-8U pilot who did low reconnaissance missions over the island. We have Svetlana Starzonskia from the National Security Archives, who's coming out with a book on the Soviet Cuban Missile Crisis to get the Soviet perspective. And then we have Dino Brugioni, who was a leading photographic interpreter at the time. He's 90 years old now. He briefed President Kennedy during the crisis with the photographs taken by these airplanes. And so we've got just a wonderful conference together for October 27th, Saturday. It's free. It's open to the public, but we do request that you register so we know how many people to expect. Registration can be done online at coldwar.org. That is our Cold War Museum webpage. On the front of that page, you'll see a button that says Conference. You'll click on the Conference button. It'll take you to the registration page, and you can fill out information there. We're always looking for sponsors to help offset our costs associated with these educational programs. So if any of your listeners are so inclined to be a sponsor for this or would like to help support the Cold War Museum, please have them contact us through coldwar.org.
Coldwar.org, outstanding. Yes. And boy, you got a lineup of people that I'm telling you, they're going to be fighting through the doors to get in there.
I hope it's a sellout crowd, even though it's free.
Well, it will be a sellout crowd. I'll tell you what, we have another caller, Gary, Anthony in California. Anthony, are you on air?
This is Anthony. Hello?
Hey, Anthony, thanks for calling to Your Voice Counts. What's on your mind?
Okay, you can hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Phil, I'm very disappointed that, can you get any of these gentlemen that are on the board on your radio program to explain why they're against the memorial? I don't have any idea of who the people are they're going to put it on. For all I know, maybe they are, they want some prestige or something. But on the other hand, you can look at the other way. These guys could be just care about the liberty as I do. And so consequently, you want to support that. If you get it out there, as you said, Phil, that you know how it has been difficult to get it out there. Who's stopping all of this?
Well,
all supporters of Israel.
Well, absolutely. Well, it seems like to me, I mean, the board won't even write me back because I asked the president of the association, Joe Metters, to make a comment about this, and it was a very derogatory comment. I won't even get into that. But listen, they can do what they want to. They were elected. And they'll be out of office soon. And whoever takes over this board, if there's anybody that wants to, would be, I think, almost insane. But no, I was very disappointed to get that. And listen, this association is splintered, and that's exactly what AIPAC wants.
Right.
And so, Jim Ennis and his cronies, they've probably got the job done. But I'm not going to give up. I'm still going to do this radio show, and I'm gonna support people like Gary Powers. Junior, I'm going to support his father. I'm going to support, the Cold War Museum and things like that. And, and I just, I don't know where else to go with this. But, I wanted to put these guys' names out because they're the ones that turned us down. And
they come onto your radio program, Phil.
But they wouldn't come with 50,000 miles of my radio program.
Well, then that's a problem.
It is a problem.
That is if they're not willing to come onto your radio program, beyond anything else, for all those people that didn't make it and the people that have died, have the courtesy to come on and explain it to some of us that care and have been trying to do things for the USS Liberty. But
well, that's what this memorial is all about. It's a permanent memorial. A permanent memorial to the USS Liberty. And they're against it. Why, I don't know, and I'll never figure it out. But have you got any comments for our special guest tonight, Mr. Gary Powers?
Well, what is his position in the two conventions, right? On both conventions, they had to bring up the thing that that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and that came out of both conventions. So, we're concerned with our election here, yet that had to be the platform of both parties. Any opinions on that?
Well, speaking from what I have seen over the years, it looks like both sides are going after the Jewish vote here in America. In order to get the Jewish vote in America, you have to be a strong supporter of Israel. If you go against that grain, oftentimes you don't get the support, you don't get elected.
Well, we've seen that with Cynthia McKinney, and of course the video vPro /backlight, and that's on YouTube. It shows the power of AIPAC and how they can target our legislators and get them out and put their own people in. So what does that tell you?
It tells you that from some perception America could be for sale, or at least the elected leaders, and hopefully that isn't the case.
Right.
Folks, we got another break coming up here, and then we're going to close out the show. Hang on. Again, thank you, RBN, John Stapp-Miller, for putting this great show on. Your voice counts. And we're going to give the last words to our very, very special guests, Gary Powers and Anthony. Thank you very much for calling in. You're a great supporter. God bless you.
Are you concerned about fluoride, chlorine, parasites, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Dalton ceramic water filters have been made continuously since 1827 and are used by disaster relief organizations and in third world countries to supply safe drinking water. Not only do we offer gravity filter systems, but also under the sink and countertop systems. Our replacement filters can be used to upgrade your existing system. And unlike some other filters on the market, Dalton filters do not have to be primed. For more information, call us at 800-696-1435, 800-696-1435, or order online at Dalton.com. That's DOULTON.com.
Don't answer it! How can I stop these annoying collection calls?
Imagine being free from your debt without settling and with no payment plan, no negotiating or filing bankruptcy, and no attorneys. What if you could eliminate the risk from all your unsecured debt in about 90 days and keep all your money? You can. It's called Zero Debt Guarantee, and it works. There's no other program of its kind on the planet, and we guarantee the results in writing. Call now, 800-477-9256. Let our team of experts provide you with the resources to fight back, stop collection calls, and prevent and stop wage garnishments and bank levies. If you're facing foreclosure, we can help. Don't go it alone. Get free information now by calling 800-477-9256. Talk to an expert who has also completed our program. Call 800-477-9256 for free info, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com. That's 800-477-9256, or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com.
I never thought I would experience what I have by being on the RNA drops. Since I started the drops, I've gotten married, started 3 businesses, and feel limitless. My name is Brandon, and I've always been a skeptic because one of my companies is an investment firm, so we look at the facts. I was presented a bottle of RNA drops without any documentation in 2010 and began taking them due to highly reliable sources and their recommendations, and things quickly progressed. My life seemed brighter. And then one day it happened. I was working in my office on a sunny morning, and my spiritual body did a 360-degree backflip and softly landed back in my chair. And that was the day it began. That was my bread of life. To view this patented product, go to freernanow.com. That's freernanow.com, and begin your ascension process. God bless.
Here we go, folks. I don't know, we've got another 3 or 4 minutes left in the show, but I wanted to especially thank my very, very special guest, Gary Powers, and his heroic father, and receiving the Silver Star. Just a very, very honored tribute to his heroism and his love of country. And I want to thank also, of course, Kat, our beautiful voice on RBN, and she continues doing everything we can, or she can, for us. And also, I want to thank you, Devin. You've done a great job tonight for your board operating, and I want to leave the rest up to you, Gary, and say anything you'd like, and you can finish out the show, and I appreciate it very much. And someday, again, I would hope we can get you back on air, because there's just too much to talk about.
Well, thank you very much, Phil, for the opportunity to come on board and talk with you and your listeners about my father, the U-2 incident, the Cold War Museum. This has just all been a very a passionate endeavor for me over the last 15-plus years. And I'm just so grateful and thankful that the museum is so close to opening now. We've had support from you, from the USS Liberty crew members, from Ron Kugel, and others over the years that it couldn't be where it is today without everybody else's help. Also, just to let your listeners know, that even though I did start and found the Cold War Museum, I am no longer running the day-to-day activities. I do help out where I can. I am in charge of this 50th anniversary conference on the Cuban Missile Crisis coming up in October. I do hope that your listeners in the Washington, D.C. area or in the East Coast who are interested in attending can come up for it at George Mason University, October 27th. Anybody, it's a free conference, but anybody who is a sponsor of the conference at a $500 level or above will be invited to attend the pre-conference breakfast with the panelists. So for a donation of $500 to the Cold War Museum, you can have breakfast with Sergei Khrushchev, with Dino Brugioni, with the other panelists, and talk with them a little bit before the actual conference starts. This is one way that we help to fulfill our educational mission, to honor Cold War veterans, to preserve Cold War history, to make sure that kids and grandkids know the history that we grew up with, is to do these educational conferences, lectures, book signings, and other educational activities. So if any of your listeners would like to help support us, move us along, keep history alive for future generations, we'd love to hear from them, and they can contact us through coldwar.org.
You know, I'll tell you, Gary, you got Khrushchev, and you have you and your father's legacy and exactly what you've done all your life. And you know, you're some kind of a guy. You are. You just I've read your bio. I wanted to get the whole darn thing on the show, but my computer didn't work. But this is going to be something else, folks. You better listen to Gary and get it up there. And I'll tell you what, I just might be there. Now that's going to be what date again?
Saturday, October 27th, which is
okay.
Coming up in about 2 months from now, at George Mason University in Fairfax County, Virginia.
Okay, how do we make arrangements to get there early?
If you want to make arrangements, you can register online at coldwar.org. Follow the links to the registration page for the conference. If you are coming in from out of town, reservations can be made at the George Mason Inn, which is the hotel conference center on campus at George Mason University.
Okay.
There's also Marriott's and Hilton's and other hotels all around the area. George Mason is approximately 18 miles from Washington, D.C. It's about, I would think 7 miles from Tyson's Corner, which is the technology hub there in the Northern Virginia area. It's 30 miles from Dulles Airport and about 30 miles from National Airport. So it's very centrally located.
Okay, Gary, God bless you, brother, and thank you for coming on. Your voice counts. We'll do it again, and thank you for all you do. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Phil. Thank you very much, and for all you do.
At 123crooks.com that exposes the electricity monopolies and government agencies for what they really are. Incompetent, lying crooks that are counting on your ignorance and fear to keep your power bills criminally high. Some have called this a conspiracy. Others have called it a cover-up. And you'll be shocked to find out how deep the conspiracy goes. My video at 123crooks.com exposes the truth and shows you the secret of how I beat them and how you can beat them too. Watch the controversial video that thousands of other smart patriots have already seen in the last 3 months. Go to 123crooks.com and discover one weird trick to slash your power bill and protect your home. Go watch my video now at 123crooks.com before they force me to shut it down. 123crooks.com.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
time has finally come for the story to be told that should have been listened to a long time ago. In 1967, on the 8th day of June, came the attack of the Liberty and the needless loss of many of the crew. And the Liberty fell like a wounded, dying lamb. The men in the light betrayed, and their souls were surely damned.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to the first part of Your Voice Counts, and thank you very much for listening. My name is Phil Tourney, USS Liberty survivor, three-time president of the USS Liberty Veterans Association.
Now Liberty was a long ship, some called her the spook ship. The men sworn to keep the sea. She sailed in international waters, off the coast of Sinai, into the Mediterranean Sea.
Welcome aboard, folks. Here we are to another Friday edition of Your Voice Counts. Thank you very much for joining us on this very fine radio station. It's an honor to be on RBN, and we're glad to be here to tell our story and get the truth out. You know, I go through a lot of things during the week that I hear, and this and that and the other, and what should be said and what shouldn't be said, and I just want to kind of keep to the script. And the script is, you know, this show is done in honor to never forget my fallen shipmates and the shipmates that listen to this show and their families. You know, these men were cut down in cold blood on the high seas by our supposed ally, the government of Israel. Israel knew 8 to 9 hours before the fact that our flag was flying. They positively identified our flag. And guess what? Guess what, folks? They relayed the messages back to their headquarters and said, yeah, we know it's an American ship. We have it on our war table. So apparently there wasn't any trouble at that point. So what we ended up getting was, after all this exposure, that Israel knew that we were there in international waters off the coast of Sinai. And I will continue with this, but I wanted to make sure I've held every office in that association. I think anybody could, but anyway, folks, I want to get back to the beginning here, or let's go in the middle here, of what happened that day. And I'll tell you what happened. 294 Americans were aboard the USS Liberty. There were over 850 cannon and rocket holes in our ship. Over 5,000 armor-piercing bullets, napalm burning us up, and a 40 by 40-foot hole in our starboard side that almost sank us. They shot the only 3 remaining life rafts that we had aboard the USS Liberty. Now, folks, we had enough life rafts for 294 souls plus. We dropped them over the side, And as soon as we put the life rafts over the side, guess what happened? The Israeli torpedo boats shot them out of the water. They shot 2 out of the water and took 1 aboard the boat, I guess as a trophy. I heard it was in a museum somewhere in Israel as a trophy. Can you believe that, as a trophy of killing American souls on the high seas? It's just unbelievable. I still can't believe it. And I was there. You know, they took their best shot, and they didn't put us on the bottom. But I'll tell you what, they certainly have gotten away with war crimes over and over and over. You know, in this 2-hour attack, 34 Americans were slaughtered. 174 others were wounded, including myself, and many, many others. And a friend of mine is going to be coming on the show here in a minute. Mr. Ron Kukul will be on our show to help us, get things straightened out. But here for 45 years plus, the government of the United States has hidden this, covering up for Israel and the slaughter of Americans on the high seas. These young men didn't deserve to die like that on the high seas, doing what we were ordered to do. It's despicable, dishonest, and it can happen again and again and again. And I'll tell you what, in my view, it has been happening. We fought a war in Iraq for Israel, and we're fighting a war right now for Israel in Afghanistan. They want to get us in 2 more, in Iran and Syria. Folks, that can't happen. This country is going down, and it's going to go down fast. I really want a special thanks to Kat Faber, and her husband for getting such fine guests, along with Ron Kukul and others, as we have tonight. One of the finest guests we've had on this radio program, and I certainly appreciate Mr. Powers taking the time, to hang on there for just a few minutes, and so I get this business done. But also, Kat, your songs are so beautiful, inspirational. You are just an angel, and thank you, Kat, for your contribution to the USS Liberty and to America. And I also want to say congratulations on your dad's heart surgery today. I heard it went very, very well. And please tell your dad, Harley, and his beautiful wife, we're thinking of him. Get well soon, and all of your family. I'm glad you came together and everything worked out, and I appreciate it so much. Also, folks, go to my very, very good friend, former intelligence officer aboard the USS Liberty, Lieutenant John Gadusco, one of the finest men I've ever had the chance of coming around. I didn't work for John, but I sure would have liked to, but I wasn't a CT. I wasn't qualified. But anyway, he's done so much for the USS Liberty. You must go to his site. It's tinyurl.com/USS Liberty. tinyurl.com/USS Liberty. Thank you, John. And I hope Betty is getting better. I know she fell too and hurt her foot. And let's make sure Betty gets back on her feet soon and recovers as good as new. With finishing up, I want to thank Republic Broadcasting Network, and especially John Statmiller, for giving me the chance, the USS Liberty crew, to pay tribute to one of the greatest ships that ever sailed the 7 seas. John has given us a chance to make sure our fallen mates are not forgotten. Not on RBN, not on this radio station. It is very, heartfelt to me to have an American, a true American, as John Statmiller, let us get the facts out. He wants no more false flags on America, as I do not. And let's just pray Israel does not go ahead and do what they say they're going to do and fight or try to get us in war with Iran or Syria. I don't think that they could handle it themselves, so they want us to do it for them. And I'm not really too happy about that, but I'm sure that my special guest was on the line, and I'll get him on just as soon as I get done with my Liberty business, which I always do. Our special guest tonight is, well, let's put it this way. He's a true American hero in his own right. He's no sleeping beauty. And he came from the loins of a hero, a man that gave his life every day for the United States of America. That man would be Francis Gary Powers. And if you don't know who he is, you don't know anything about the Cold War, what was going on over Russia, and who knows where else. But this man is a American icon, an American hero, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes as soon as I get over my Liberty business, which I have to do. And thank you, Gary, for joining the show. Just hang on, please, till I get this done, and then we'll get you on air and we'll go from there. But folks, as I was telling you, our ship was positively identified by the IDF. Folks, we're going to go on to a break here. I hear the music coming on. So support your sponsors on RBN, please. You know, they're the people who keep this thing going. Real news, real talk, because you can't handle the truth. Thank you.
I'll hear the bomb again.
American gardeners and fellow patriots, make the right choice with your money, time, and your family food supply. Choose 100% pure heirloom seeds in the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. Why spend more? The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com is only $37.95 and includes 20 varieties of pure, hardy, easy-to-grow heirloom seeds. Yes, only $37.95. That's 70% less than our competitors. You could buy 3 Survival Seed Vaults for less than one of theirs. The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions and ships same day. Plus, all orders over $49 ship free. MyPatriotSupply.com is American-owned by patriots like you, passionate about freedom and preparedness. Call now, 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness items when you order at MyPatriotSupply.com. Choose the original. Choose the Survival Seed Vault at MyPatriotSupply.com.
Hey there, my name is Frank Bates. What I'm about to tell you in the next 60 seconds could get me in a lot of trouble. I just created a free video presentation